Welcome to Henry Disc Golf. Today we have the Glacé Challenge with me, Jason, Jesse, and Franklin. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, and? Yeah, and? What do you want?
That's what they want.
Apparently. Alright guys, so here we are on hole number one. Hole number one is a 195-foot par 3. It's pretty much a straight shot. That does need to get over to the left by quite a bit. As you can see here, those were the birds that were squawking at us and I was squawking back. My shot was okay. Did turn it over just a little bit too much. Here's Jason's shot. It was a pretty nice shot with the glitch. Definitely put it in the middle in a pretty decent position. Franklin is throwing his and he winds up going through the skinny gap, definitely getting the best shot out of the group. Jesse is throwing his shot, does wind up turning it over a little bit and cut rolling over towards the center. He shouldn't have too bad of a shot into the basket. I'm looking at about 100 to about 115 foot upshot here. Keep it nice and wide, have it drop down over by the basket. Jason's shot here, pretty decent, does give it a little bit too much, does go past the basket by a bit. Here is Franklin's shot, nice little upshot towards the basket. Jesse's did get a touch further than his. Jesse's shot pretty much right there by the basket. Here is Jason's look at par. He does wind up just doinking that one. Here is my look at par. There it is, and then all the rest of these should be pretty routine tap-ins. Franklin with his par. Jesse with his par. And Jason with a bogey. Here we are on hole number two. Hole number two is a 153-foot par 3. My shot there just winds up burning it over into the ground a little bit with a little bit of a cut roll back towards the basket. Not a terrible shot, but definitely wanted something a little bit better on this hole. Here is Franklin's look. Just kept it nice and straight in the middle of the fairway. Jesse's throw here is the best of all of them. Kept it nice and straight. It was actually going in towards the basket very nicely. Just wound up a little short. Here is Jason's. Probably should have edited the video there a little bit shorter than what it is. Surprised I didn't. But here is Jason's throw now. Just puts it out wide. Winds up being over by me. That one unfortunately was just a really low release out of his hand and came up quite a bit short. Here is my look at my second shot. I do throw a decent shot. Just winds up hitting those branches a little bit short of the basket, giving me an obstructed look at the basket. Franklin does throw the backdoor anti-gap and actually winds up going past the basket by quite a bit. Here is Jason's look at 3. Kept it a little too wide. Jesse's trying to get the skinny gap there. Just barely misses it. Puts it nice and close to the basket for his easy tap in for par. There is Franklin's look at his par. Here is my look at par. Very wide straddle that I did make. And now we have tap-ins. Jesse with a par, Franklin with a bogey, and Jason with a bogey. Here we are on hole number 3. Hole number 3 is a 200-foot par 3. I'm throwing my glacé. Do wind up just pushing it out a little bit too wide, kept it a little too straight. Jesse here kept his on a great angle and put it pretty close to the basket. He definitely had the best drive out of the group. Here is Franklin. Franklin winds up just pulling his over, and it just wind up riding quite a bit over to the right. Jason's shot here did wind up just kind of pulling out as well, or pulling over a little wide. Franklin's look at his second shot just clips the tree at the end of the flight and drops down. Here is my look at birdie. Just missing that one. Franklin's look at par. Tickles chains and drops out. Jason's look at birdie. Just misses to the left. And Jesse's look at birdie just misses a bit short. Those are all tap-ins. Here we are on hole 3. Hole 3 is a 235-foot par 3. I do throw an okay shot into the middle of the fairway. Jesse winds up throwing his over to the right. I'd say just short of pin high. Franklin does throw his right by mine, right in the middle of the fairway, but just short. And Jason's hits the tree in front of him and drops down right here. Here is Jason for his second shot. Throws it up on the top side of the hill, but right there at pin high. It's a good looking second shot. Here is Franklin for his second. It's a little short. Here's me for my second. Also a little bit shorter than Franklin. And Jesse for his second. Just a touch short. You can see mine and Franklin's here. Jason with a decent run. It was a bit windy when we were throwing this round, so the wind did mess with him a little bit, and the wind got the camera there, so unfortunately you didn't catch me making that one, but it did go in. There is Jason just kind of going back and forth on this hole. Jesse's going to tap in his par along with Franklin, just did. There is Jason for one more shot. Now he has a tap in. I believe that was for a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, for a 6. Here we are on hole 5. Hole 5 is a 435-foot par 4. You could see there I released it with a bit of hyzer, but it just wound up flipping right over, hitting the tree and dropping down for me. Jesse had a great drive straight down the middle, beautiful the whole way. Franklin did wind up pushing his just a little bit too much to the left. Actually had a pretty decent throw down there, but not as good as Jesse. And then Jason kind of doing a copy paste on Jason's, but just a little bit worse. Here was my second shot. That was actually a really good throw to get me down to where I'm just throwing a little upshot to card my par. Here is Jason's shot. Not quite copy and paste to Franklin's. He would wind up dropping down a little earlier. But here is Franklin's second shot. He gets a hold of this one. I thought that he potentially could go in the water with this throw, but it does wind up checking a little bit early because it did clip a tree, which was nice. Here is the result of Jesse's drive. Just a great look. And he is up there by the basket looking at a birdie. Jason's shot clips some cabbage there and just drops down. Here is my shot for 3. And I definitely give myself a tester for my putt here. Here is Franklin's shot for his third, which would have been a birdie if he would have made it, but kept it just a little bit too low. Jason, boom, with a big putt to save his par. There is my putt to save my par. That was a very, thank goodness it went in. Putt, Jesse getting his birdie. Here we are on hole 6. Hole 6 is a 240-foot par 3. Jesse winds up throwing a pretty decent shot, just kept it a little short. Don't know if I said that correctly. We are on hole 6. That is a 240-foot par 3. Jesse had a good shot. I had just kept mine a little bit wider, clipped some cabbage at the end of its flight, dropped down. Franklin kept his a little bit wider than mine, clipped some cabbage early and dropped down short. Jason kept his too tight and clipped some tree limbs there and dropped down pretty early. Here is Jason's second shot. Jason's shot is looking really good. Oh, I thought that had a chance of getting in, just dropped down a little short. Here is Franklin's look at 2. Just a touch short with that run. Jesse's look as well. Just kept it off to the left. And my look at birdie, just too high and off to the left. Alright, here we are on hole 7. Hole 7 is a 405-foot par 4. My shot just winds up turning over a little bit. Jesse winds up hitting a tree early and dropped down. Franklin gets it down through the gap here. His is looking pretty good. You'll see it come down by that tree in the middle. And Jason's shot is turned over a little bit too much, kind of like mine. I believe he hits a tree and drops down over by myself. Here is Jesse's second shot. Said he clipped a tree early, dropped down. He is going to be over by Franklin. Here is where I wound up. I do wind up turning this over a little bit too much, but I do have a pretty decent roll away from the water to give me a look. And Jason winds up turning this over too much and does go into the water. Here is Jesse for his third shot. And he does a good job at putting that by the basket. Here is Franklin's second shot. He does wind up throwing it into the water. He does throw an upshot before he goes and gets his disc because he had a second glitch that he had with him. So he throws his upshot and then he does go in the water to retrieve his other glitch. Jason goes into the water as well to retrieve his. There is my upshot from my third, so I'm looking at a putt for 4. Jesse is looking at his fourth there. I believe he is going to go ahead and tap in his 5. There it is. And then I believe he taps in Jason as well here in a second, because Jason did throw his upshot, but we missed it. That is a tap in for Jason. Here is Franklin, I believe, looking at his 5. And here is me putting for a 4. There it is. Here we are on hole 8. Hole 8 is a 245-foot par 3. Just throw that one down the wide gap. I was just looking to get myself out in the open. Jesse is trying the straight gap here. He does wind up pushing the tree branches and just kind of clips them and drops down. Jason is also going with the straight gap there. Winds up just short of that tree. Franklin is also going with the straight gap here. Winds up getting into the tree and just dropping down. Here is Jason for his second throw. Hitting that tree and then dropping down. Franklin putting one that was pretty close to Jason as well, a little sidearm. Jesse has given his a little toss, also kind of in that same spot. And then here is my second, just putting it right by the basket, making it nice and easy on myself to get an easy tap in for par. Jason just missing his par putt. Franklin just missing his par putt. And Jesse making his. All the rest of them are tap-ins from there. So here is hole number 9. Hole number 9 is a 190-foot par 3. And I do wind up just pushing my glitch out too wide. It was a little unfortunate, but it did happen. Here is Jesse with his look. He would have been 7 feet lower. That would have gone in the basket for an ace, but he was a little too high. Here is Jason waving goodbye to his because he kept that one too high, and with the wind, it definitely was pushing it to the left. Franklin kept his nice and straight, a little bit past the basket, but in the open. Here is my look at my second shot, just trying to put it underneath the basket. Mission successful. And here is Franklin, also doing the same thing, just putting it underneath the basket. Here is my tap in for par. You will see Jason's shot here. You really can't see his second shot. It's right there. And then here is his third shot. And he will be tapping in for a bogey. Here is Jesse's second shot. I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's anything you guys would like to see. With that being said, I'd like to say have a great day. Make it good for somebody else. And we will see you guys next time.